My name is Chapelle. I'm an artist originally from France. I've been living and working in Liverpool for 20 years. My work's quite multidisciplinary. I love working with people. I love working with other artists. I love it when I work with other people and I don't know what the final work is going to be like when I start it. It's quite exciting to start a new adventure every time. Favorite thing about my job is that I can do kind of what I want and when I want. Obviously, I still have deadlines and I still have to, if it's a commission, I've got a brief to respond to, but I can kind of do things in my own time, and I think that's really nice when you're being creative. I love that freedom. So when I was little, I did used to love drawing. I used to draw all the time, and I think what I loved about the drawing again was that sense of freedom. Like if you draw, you can just decide what you want to draw, what color you want to do it, and you don't have to justify it to anyone. It's kind of your own world where you can decide what you want. So I think I loved that about drawing. So I kind of always wanted to be an artist. But I also loved science, so I did science at A-levels, and then I did a biology degree. But really, yeah, the creative element always crept back in, so I ended up going back to university to do art, and did art in the end. So I always used to love art, obviously, and I remember my friends always thinking about art as a lesson where you could just mess about and have fun, but for me it was always like the most important lesson, and I would just give it my all and make the most beautiful thing that I could, and I used to take it really seriously. I was actually quite academic at school, but I remember being a teenager really struggling with concentration and maybe just being a bit bored sometimes. One thing that really helped me when I realized it was great when I realized was just doodling, because I think I'm not very good at sitting and listening. My mind just goes really quickly, I can't concentrate. But when I started to doodle in school, it really helped me to listen. When I left school, I was quite lucky to know some artists who had a studio in Liverpool, so I came to live in Liverpool after university and rented a really small studio. That meant I could really carry on my art practice and really focus on it. And I've always been quite serious about it, so I used to go like at 8 AM and really spend the whole day there. And I think because I didn't do art straight away, I felt quite lucky that I could do that. I was quite touched by the work of Kate Tempest when she did a Glastonbury performance, I think in 2018. And I felt like that piece was all about people connecting and just everyday life. And I feel all her work is quite political and challenging and really engaging at the same time, and really simple at the same time. I love seeing other artworks and I love going to exhibitions, but I do feel like most of my inspiration is maybe from outside of the art world. And I'd say people who inspire me the most are maybe people who do artworks in the community, so they're not like the big name artists and famous artists, but people who do art with people every day. I've been working with a lot of groups over the years, people with learning difficulties or young people, refugees and asylum seekers, and with this group there's always staff and volunteers who work with them like all year round and do amazing things with them. That's something we forget as well about art sometimes, that arts always aim for like the best and the most beautiful artwork, but really it's all about the process and making people feel good doing it and looking at it. Yeah, if I could collaborate with anyone, probably would be someone quite unexpected, because I love it when I end up working with people from different fields, like completely different subjects, and finding common ground. So I've been doing a bit of work recently with evolutionary scientists. They look at tiny single-cell organisms in their labs, and it's been really nice to try and find connections between what they do and what I do. And I think kind of stretching out of your comfort zone is really nice. There's a piece I did quite a long time ago, but I always loved it, and it was called The Wind Charmers, and it was a project I did in a town near London, in Dunstable, and it's a really windy place, and we decided to create a new tradition all based around the wind, because everybody there seemed to know how to fly a kite, and the wind was just kind of part of their lives. So we created a whole folklore around the wind and how they might be wind charmers and like wind specialists. So we worked with some kite specialists, and we created a huge kite. I think it was 3 meter by 4 meter wide, and everybody helped make it. So there was really this collective element where everybody came together to create this big kite. We wrote some poetry and some of the wishes for the wind, which we attached to the kites. People were invited to create their own wind charming costumes as well, and they came with them on the day. And someone brought their dog, and their dog had a wind charming costume on. So it felt really special. I feel like an artwork is more like a journey, so you just start to investigate something. So if it's a painting, maybe it's just, I don't know, you want to try something with a few lines and a color, and it's really through making that you start discovering things and then following a path. So really there was nothing in your head at the start, you're just kind of following this path as you go along. And I think that's why I like working with other people as well, because people will chip in ideas and things we could do, and unexpected things, and I love that because it helps me to kind of grow artwork kind of faster and in quite an exciting way. For the last few years I've been trying to focus on video a bit more, and what I love about video work is that I can do everything within the video. So I can make objects, we can do dancing, we can do poetry, we can do music, and all that can go into video. For example, with the Bleach Packers project, we invited a poet to write a story about the Bleach Packers with some local groups, and then we invited a sound artist to turn those words into a soundtrack. And then in terms of the visuals, we created some costumes, so that was really hands-on making, but then the costumes I used to dance with, so then we created the dance and filmed it. Yeah, so I love the video medium because I can still do everything, but it gives me a little bit of a focus. I was invited by Halton Borough Council to do a project around heritage and specifically looking at the chemistry and chemical trades in Halton. And I came across this character of the Bleach Packer. I felt quite inspired by him, I think, because he was this man fully wrapped in fabric and paper with goggles on him, and this was kind of just after COVID as well, so he really spoke to me because he really looked like he was in a PPI outfit. What was really interesting about looking at the industry and what really resonates with today's world as well is that we all use and need those products that are created by the industry. At the same time, we all point the finger how bad the industry is, and it was so bad in Halton that at the peak of the industry, people used to say there was no trees, no birds. I mean, the water was polluted. Pollution still comes out now through the ground. It was so bad. But at the same time, people needed that industry at the time, and it just happened to be in Halton. So the whole project was about this kind of black and white. Nothing is black and white. So kind of the good and the bad. So we're looking at the damage, but also the progress, and also the environment. So we created those geometrical shapes to represent all the chemicals and the things that were produced in the factories. And then in contrast, we also created paper flowers, which were representing the environment kind of being destroyed or fighting back. And this Bleach Packer character was kind of torn between those two things, which I think we all are